afternoon, everybody. I'm Lisa Agona, and I do lead marketing for LexisNexis, based in Alpharetta, Georgia, but I live up the street. And I'm going to talk to you today about Project Fido, which is a reference to eating our own dog food, because what my company does is actually configure data and analytics into solutions for our customers that help them predict, assess, and manage risk, identity risk, so associated with people they do business with. So what we're trying to do is actually turn those core capabilities outside in and use them for internal purposes, for instance, in the way that we actually go to market or market to our customers. So really the challenge that we face is how do we compete into the future, and how do we get smarter about how we interact with our customers, how we engage with our customers, and ultimately, how do we become a better marketing team and work less off of anecdotal and past information and more on real data and make data-driven decisions, marketing decisions across the organization to help us across that customer life cycle. So the response is Project Fido, and it really focuses on leveraging and extending what we consider the voice of the customer to acquire, develop, and retain customers across their life cycle. And how do you really kind of rally within the organization for what ultimately will be a fundamental change and cultural shift in how we make decisions? So I think, we're not the only people thinking about analytics, right? There was, I think, a couple years ago, a study by IBM and MIT that I highly recommend, and some of these data points are from, talking about analytics and the importance in terms of competing on them in the future and sustaining that competitive advantage. And we know that twice as many top-performing organizations use insights or analytics over lower performers. 50% of people that responded to that particular survey said that improvement in information and analytics was a top priority for their organizations, and 70% of high-performing companies, and this is financial performance, will manage their business processes using real-time predictive analytics or collaboration by 2016. So, but at the same time, over 60% said that there are significant challenges internally with their data, with accessing and using their data successfully. And I think the last bullet gets to my point about the cultural impact. The impact of integrating real-time analytics with business operations will be apparent because it will change the way people in our organizations do their jobs. And fundamentally, as a marketer, it's going to absolutely change the way that my team markets and, frankly, the value that we deliver to the organization and the impact that we have financially. And we'll be able to report, measure it, and actually convey it, which, as you know, and I'm in the B2B space, is very, very difficult. So, this is just a slide from my actual marketing plan, just to show you how, we're thinking about this. I mean, we're actually going aggressively international, and a lot of these things will be very similar to what you're facing. Our customer demographics are changing. They're definitely getting younger. Interaction is changing. Obviously, our customers are more online, they're more mobile, they're more social, and their buyer values are changing. I mean, they're expecting more than your core product, at least in the B2B space. So we've had to kind of rethink our definition of what we actually sell. And then the competition is changing. And a few years ago, competition would have looked just like us, and now, we're competing against firms that don't look anything like us on the surface. And the marketing implications of those customer insights are that we have to expand our value propositions, go beyond our products, features, and benefits, and that can be in subject matter expertise, that can be, take it a step further, in the thought leadership that you provide around your products and services, as well as other things like proprietary or open communities or other extensions of your product that add additional value and solve problems for your customers faster or better or, frankly, cheaper. And being where they are, so we're being increasingly, for us, international, being increasingly mobile, making sure that everything we do is accessible by phones, frankly. And then most important is knowing the customer. And we've had a voice of customer function in our business for quite a while, but we're really investing in that area, and we're extending it beyond the traditional attitudinal research, the kind of survey work, and really trying to build in that behavioral piece with analytics. And what I'm trying to do is kind of build up an analytics team within marketing to do that. But we had to take baby steps to get there. So our investment areas, content and publishing, digital, and what we're talking about today in research and analytics. Does anything I just talked about, I mean, does that resonate with you? Are you having some of the same challenges in your organizations? No? Yes? And also, I have two colleagues here, Megan Mahoney and Stephen Silva, and if either of you want to comment on anything or help me out here, please feel free to do so. And one of the major challenges we're trying to solve as marketers, and I really would like to know if this resonates with you, is get this picture of a dump truck, because sometimes I feel like marketers, including myself and my team, kind of generate leads in bulk, and then we dump them, and then our sellers are, they have to pick through what could be considered garbage to find the decent leads to follow through. And that's driven, our prospect targeting is slightly ineffective because we have disparate sources of information across the organization and limited governance. Marketing decisions are based on past performance instead of predictive analytics. Metrics are inconsistent. And I think that this doesn't just apply to marketing, this applies to many different areas across the organization, but obviously my primary focus is in that space. Is this something that you guys struggle with as well?
Yes.
Yes. All right. My team gets furious when I put up that picture because they don't believe that they're dumping garbage on the sellers. So the answer for us is to eat our own dog food, turn our core capabilities outside in, and that's Project Fido. And that is a company-wide initiative to build a data foundation to accelerate or create a culture of analytics across the organization so that we're making insight-driven marketing decisions. It's going to change the way we make decisions. A tangible outcome of this project. Before we build that culture of analytics, the data foundation had to be built. So we are building one version of the truth, an enterprise data warehouse, building strong governance around it. And then we are going to, I'm going to show you, we're actually piloting several models that will demonstrate the power of analytics across the organization. Does anybody have any questions so far about anything I've just talked about? No? I think you guys can probably identify with this slide. I think, on the left, the spaghetti. Over the years, our data infrastructure has been built up as new initiatives have come up, and we wanted to be agile, flexible, and fast. And ultimately, over the years, it's tended to slow us down, and we have many, many disparate sources of data. The data for us as marketers is hard to access in a meaningful and consistent way and actually use consistently across our campaigns. So what we're doing is we've just spent probably the last almost a year, less than a year, but going through every single one of our data sources, cleaning them up, even starting and putting data governance in place, even starting with the definition. We didn't have a clear definition of what a product was. So we had to kind of just sit down, define our products. We had to look across multiple systems to make sure that we were referring to things consistently across the board and that they actually ultimately funnel through into individual sandboxes for each of our functional areas, including marketing, to use in their day-to-day work. And we actually have a big data technology called HPCC Systems that's going to allows us today to actually link. Today, we link consumer data from 10,000 different public and proprietary sources. We have what we consider the best linking technology, and we're able to link those into profiles of individuals. I work in B2B, so the data that I deal with is B2B because I'm actually reaching out and marketing to our customers who are organizations. So we're actually, we have a big data B2B linking technology. So we're going to be taking the data from our core systems, the B2B data, and doing the same thing, linking that together to create full pictures of our organizations and the buyers within those organizations. And that we will believe will facilitate our work as we market across that customer life cycle, or what you see on the right-hand side is the buyer's journey, and kind of would do the right marketing depending on where the customer is in that process. So, nobody was taking just my word that we needed to do this, so what we did was we started a marketing campaign first and foremost, and we started socializing this need across the organization with the top 120 managers and executives within the organization. And we actually manually simulated a data warehouse, and we piloted an attrition model in our financial services group. So what we did was that it was extremely difficult to get the data out of these spaghetti systems, but we did it. And then the marketing analytics person on my team actually built a model that allowed us to predict who was likely to attrite from our financial services group. And then we put an extremely simple call program in place to see if we could stop the attrition against a control group. And what we did too is we actually used attitudinal data in addition to the behavioral stuff. So, utilizing market research and customer data, we were able to identify customers who were likely to attrite and prevent them from leaving. And some of the things that we learned through this process, I thought were interesting. You know, two themes stood out as key predictors of attrition or retention. The first one, if a customer is engaged, obviously they're less likely to attrite. And we saw that they were less likely to attrite if they actually responded to a marketing email, downloaded something, or if they attended an event, or if they registered an event, et cetera. If they responded to our Net Promoter Score, so we use Net Promoter Score to measure advocacy across our organization. And it didn't matter if they actually detracted, so provided negative feedback, or if they provided positive feedback on the NPS. The fact that they took that step was they were less likely to attrite. And the customer responds highly likely to continue to use LexisNexis over the next 12 months. That's from another company-wide survey that we do on a monthly basis. And then on the flip side, if a customer obviously has declining trends in usage or revenue, et cetera, they're likely to attrite. So we looked at a drop in number of active users on an account, declining usage, or sales lost a deal. And then what we did is we had, I think it was 300 at-risk customers called by the sellers. And you can see what happened here is against a control group, when a seller actually called the customer and had a conversation with the customer, the attrition went down 37%. When the seller actually called the customer and they identified an issue, the attrition went down 57% against the control group. And even, not significant, but even when the seller actually called the customer and just left a message, didn't actually make contact, it actually went down 1%. So this was actually very important for us because we had to provide a proof of concept to put a business case together within the organization to actually get the funding and a dedicated effort devoted to this, and to get people kind of excited about it. So it's through the basis of this that we built the business case based on what we believe that we can quantify in retention, and got it approved. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions on the pilot? And one thing I would like to do, if you are interested in understanding more details about the model that we built or the technologies that we use, I am very happy to put you in touch with some folks on my team that are working on this if it will help you within your own organizations do what you want to do. So what are we doing now? So we got the business case approved, and what's the way forward? We got the funding, we got the team in place, and we are in the process right now of operationalizing the attrition model, starting in financial services, but operationalizing it across all of our businesses within LexisNexis. The pilot model was a point in time, so now that the data is stale, we're actually fully automating it and operationalizing it, so this will happen on an ongoing basis. And we're actually building into the tools that the sellers use every day. We're actually building, for instance, attrition alerts. And we're providing them enough information every day with a prioritized list of customers that they should call and try to retain. And they'll also receive reports that will show the impact of retaining them financially. So right now, we have attrition model underway to operationalize across financial services. What's next within the scope of this project is a cross-sell model, so that we can identify the next best product our customers are likely to purchase. And then the third model within the scope of the project is a predictive prospecting model, so that we can target our best prospects, those that are most likely to want to engage with us. And we can kind of, for me, this is critical because it really fixes the dump truck problem that I showed you on the prior slides. So, and it's not just about marketing. I mean, Project Fido is, this is across the company, and there are applications across the company. You know, in marketing, it's going to fundamentally change us. We will be an insight-driven team. We will be able to prospect better. We'll be able to develop our customers better. We'll be able to retain them better. The skill sets on my team will ultimately change because marketers need to be much more analytically focused, understand technology, and so it's I think it's really exciting, but I think for some marketers it's a little scary, and we'll also be able to convey our impact or lack of impact. And I think as much as we get frustrated about, sometimes in the B2B space, our inability to convey how we impact financially, I think also it may have provided a safety net for some marketers in not having to take the accountability that we really need to, because we are business people and we're fundamental to growing the businesses that we're in. So beyond marketing, this has, we'll be able to, in product development, optimize the product mix across the customer base, or build the products that our customers want, because we'll know more about what they do and how they do it. Sales, prioritize which customers to focus on, and we're going to already see that. We've already seen it with our sellers. Finance, maybe to help aid better forecasting, and operations, cross-sell on inbound support calls. So there are customer service applications here. And, this all might seem like common sense and whatnot, but we're doing something about it. It's kind of like throughout the years when I've heard people when they see like an abstract expressionism painting or something, and it's just kind of a canvas that's painted purple, and I could do that. But you didn't. So I think that, my point is it might seem simple and basic, but we're doing something about it. We're taking baby steps, and this is going to be foundational and game-changing for us. And we started, even though this timeline references Q1 2012, we started earlier in 2011, again, socializing this, marketing this. This is a project that's been handled much differently than other projects within our organization. Traditionally, this would have been a technology project. This is truly a cross-functional, company-wide project. The executive sponsors on this project are me, the CMO, and a guy named Vijay Raghavan, our CTO. And we are working in partnership. We've created a team of people from operations, from sales, from marketing, from technology, and that's what I believe has made this fundamentally different, and that we've been successful, and we're tracking to our dates, which is virtually unheard of. And so you can see, we actually started marketing in 2011. We used our pilot to predict attrition in Q2 of 2012. We got our business case approved in Q3 of 2012. Our initial data warehouse will be done in October of this year, so next month. Our attrition model completed and operationalized Q4 by the end of this year. Customer linking embedded in the data warehouse, and that's where we're going to take our cool B2B data linking technology and kind of so we can create better profiles of our prospects and our customers. That's going to happen Q1 2014, and we're going to expand the warehouse to include new sources of data, because we had to start, we could have overwhelmed ourselves pretty easily by focusing on too many data sources, and we took the priority, I think it was 18 or 19, maybe a little bit more. To start. Because the most important thing about this project, and my boss made it very clear to me that he would support me unless this became one of those 3-year technology projects that nobody saw anything, and it was a black box and nobody saw anything until the end of the 3rd year. So we kind of were much more agile in how we handled this one. So the most important, if you take nothing away from this other than, I think you all probably know the importance of analytics and taking those baby steps, and as marketers, getting involved. This is within your domain, and something that you should be championing and leading if it's appropriate within your companies. And I believe that the success continues because, yes, I had executive sponsorship, but that's not enough that the CEO supported VJ and me on this project. I put it on the CEO staff meeting agenda every single month and brought people from the Fido team in to address the executive team. And we did that for a year, and we continue to do it. We do it now every other month. But this has been extremely important. Not only are you raising the visibility of people within the organization and giving them an opportunity to get in front of your senior leadership, but it's kind of, we have advocates now in that room. They are advocates of this project, and they feel that they have a stake in it, and they want it to succeed. And so I think that has been incredible. The cross-functional teaming, seeing marketing and technology and operations and human resources and customer service all working together has been phenomenal. And this is a team that loves being together, and they now socialize together, and it just is not a common configuration on projects such as this. And then the continuous communication. Sometimes the technology guys get a little nervous around me because I want to, I'm a little aggressive on how we market this, and I have it in all the internal communications vehicles. I send out emails, meetings that we have, all off-sites and sales meetings, et cetera. I shamelessly put myself on the agenda, or the Fido people on the agenda, to talk about this because it impacts everybody in the organization. I want them to feel good about it. I want them to have a say in it, and I want it to happen. So I think with that, can anybody have any questions, or can you relay some experiences? Hello.
Question related part. A few questions for you. Just on how this is being administered, or how you're administering it. How big is the core team for the whole project itself, and then how big is the management team? Want me to ask that question again? Okay, I got to ask that question again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My question is twofold. Actually, I have a few questions. The first one is, how big is the core team for the whole project?
The core team is 7.
Okay, and then how big is the membership of everyone? You'd say this is the Fido project, not just the main guys, but everyone involved with the whole project across the company.
We have about 120 people that we consider stakeholders that we engage at some level throughout the project.
Okay.
Actively, 7 are core. They're every meeting. They're working together every day. And then I think extended core, probably around 20.
Okay, cool. So then that brings me to my next question, which is how are you disseminating to everyone involved the information as to the progress of the project itself, and what are the benchmarks you use, you'd say, on a whole? Because those are, you've got some key, benchmarks I've seen that are here, but what kind of project KPIs are you using to manage your actual progress towards completion? Are you going off targets that you set, or specific accomplishments in the programming of this, or the research, or what? How's it being managed?
Well, we have, and again, we're on the CEO staff meeting agenda every month, and we communicate progress through emails, and we have kind of it's a basic dashboard, but even some of the basic stuff. We were funded at a certain amount of money, and we track our budget to what we said we would spend in each phase. We track the people that we needed to hire the skill sets, the training of those people. We also look at our data sources, because that was kind of that was the really important piece to the executive team and others. They wanted to understand the data sources that would be included in our progress in getting them into the, cleaning them up and getting them into the data warehouse and the governance piece. So we track that, and then we track overall the timeline. What did we say we were going to deliver over the 18-month phase one?
Okay, cool. And then how, I'm sorry to ask so many questions, but how is everyone else in the whole team then becoming aware of what you're discussing at that, the CEO meeting or your own conference? How's everyone as a whole and the entire group involved seeing that progress being made? How are they finding that out?
They find it out through our intranet. They find it out through email communications, blogs. We blog about it. We've kind of taken our show on the road, and we actually insinuate ourselves into small group meetings.
Okay, cool.
We know it's good to have a marketer on this kind of project.
It's not within our organization too, but within our parent company as well.
Yeah, we've actually taken it beyond LexisNexis into Reed Elsevier, which is our parent company. So recently, we were in Turkey for a management meeting, took Fido with us, had the people present to all the folks in Reed Elsevier that were highly impressed, because it's all about advocacy and excitement, and I want people around this. And that we've had then, we had several people call us to do special sessions for them to help them understand how they could do something like this.
Right. And my last question is, how is all this at the end of the line? Has it been figured out how to convert all of this into, let's say, a strategy or a plan more tactically that's going to be then applied to create revenue as a result of doing this? Like, in other words, like, are you still moving towards that progression, or have you guys already figured out how we're going to take all of this fantastic research, this great project, and convert this into actually making money, for the organization? Has that already been named as part of this, or is that something that the reason you're doing this is so that you can figure that out? Like which way does that flip-flop?
Well, no, I mean, we plan on doing it. Like, we are quantifying the value of the people that we save, that we prevent from attriting. And then also, when we build the next model, is going to be the prospecting model. We'll be able to quantify that and cross-sell and upsell. So absolutely. And that's what I mean for our marketing team. This is kind of our ticket to be able to convey revenue impact we have on the business.
Gotcha. That's all that I had. Thank you.
Anything else?
So we can help you field questions.
So you look, so I can ask a question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So you think about a classic kind of marketing organization inside of a company where you've got your CMO, you've got your directors, your regionals, you've got guys in the street getting intimate, and you talk about this big data project. This big data project is really going to start giving you kind of your marching orders. It's one of the goals, I'm assuming, with a predictive model. You're going to wake up on Monday and ask the system per se, what should we do today, based on prediction? Have you seen any resistance from any of your coworkers, say, of a more classic marketing structure that are kind of starting to see some writing on the wall potentially that tomorrow's marketing department will still have a CMO and probably some VPs, but a lot more analytics folks and thinkers, if you will, with regards to what the data is saying versus the doers and the ones that had to worry about being intimate because the data is now intimate?
Yes, I mean, I think that this is going to be a big change for marketers, and specifically on my team, and I expect that my team won't look like the way it does today in a couple years. And I'm already changing. Like, over the last 2 years, when I request new FTEs, they don't look like what I requested 6 years ago. They're much more analytically driven. They understand technology. They're business people with MBAs. I mean, it's different. I don't have a lot of traditional creative marketers or creative campaigners, and I tend to use agencies externally because that's where you can get the best. So, anybody else?
And you're sitting in a very interesting changing office right now. So CMOs there was a report that came out that CMOs would be responsible for more IT than the CTO inside the company.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so CMO is kind of a changing office of what's happening there. So
and I have a great relationship with our CTO. He's wonderful, he's a wonderful partner, and it's been a pleasure. And it hasn't always been like that.
So what was the for Project Fido? So it's a huge project, right? So what was the easiest thing as one of these kind of projects to put together? Was it getting the buy-in, or easy?
Easy?
There could not be a part.
I don't know. The easy part was But, well, for me and a core set of people was rallying around it because we really believe in this, and like people like me, like this gives me a whole new challenge in my career. This kind of is exciting. So,
That's great.
but none of it was easy.
Okay. That's a nice, honest answer. I like that. Anybody else have any questions?